of 2020 draft prospects. Later on in the episode, we'll have Utah linebacker Francis Bernard joining us. But first up, we have Oklahoma State cornerback AJ Green. AJ, my friend, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm blessed and thank you for the opportunity.
AJ, watching your game over this past year at Oklahoma State, one of the things that really stood out to me about your game was how physical you were, and whether you're lined up in press coverage or working in run support, you know those physical elements of the game. What are some of the things that attract you to that sort of physicality about the game?
Um, just going out there, just having passion for the game. And I feel like when you have a strong passion and you've been doing it so long, it kind of just comes out onto the field. Um, Many people know me when I'm off the field. I'm kind of chill, laid back. When I'm on the field, I just tap into a different just element.
Now, you played in the Big 12, and there's a reputation that Big 12 corners, have a little bit of bad reputation because there's so much, high scoring offense in that conference. You face your fair share of really some top wide receivers over these last couple of years. Do you feel like that's something that's going to help you transition to the next level?
Yes, most definitely. Just not only the receivers, but also the quarterbacks. Like I done played against Kyler Murray, like Mahomes, Baker. So I feel like those are just things that I just put in my bag, and that could just only help me at the next level because I feel like I didn't seen it all.
And playing in Big 12, you squared up against some really high level receivers. Some guys that are getting drafted pretty high this year, like Denzel Mims, Jalen Rieger, C.D. Lamb. You got some guys at Texas A&M. You got one of your teammates in Tylan Wallace, who's probably going to be one of the top wide receivers in next year's draft. So you got to practice against him every day. I'm curious, like in your eyes, which one of those receivers was the greatest challenge for you matching up with?
Um, I would probably say the greatest challenge for me probably would be probably Tyler Wallace because we were at it every day. We got after it every day, and it's very unfortunate the injury happened, but everything happens for a reason, and he's gonna come back stronger. But Tyler Wallace, just different, just going at it every day, bringing the best out of each other.
Yeah, I was a big fan of Thailand. I was disappointed to see him go down, but hopefully he'll be able to come back strong next year. Um,
Yeah.
when you played in a scheme, you played a lot of man coverage, but you played, press, you played off, you played man, you played zone. How do you think that versatility helps you for the next level? And, do you
Um,
prefer a certain type of coverage?
I just feel like that versatility helps me in various ways because I'm not like a plug and play type corner. I don't have to go to a certain scheme. I could play a cover one press man, or I could play a cover three, or cover four, cover two, all inside, outside. Like I feel like I can do it all, and I have done it all, and I show that on tape. So I just feel like that having that freedom in college and our defensive coordinator mixing things around in disguise has only helped me and will only help me at the next level.
Are there any particular NFL players that you like to model your game off of?
Somebody I watch a lot. Somebody I watch is I like Darius Slay game and Jalen Ramsey's game. I say Jalen Ramsey because he know how to get between the ears of another opponent. He can talk, but he also know how to handle business and lock up. And then Darius Slay, he's kind of just smooth and even killed, but he's gonna go out there and beat clamps all night long.
This is a Falcons podcast, and a lot of the people watching are Falcon fans, and they would be upset with me if I didn't ask. You got the opportunity to talk to the Falcons over this process?
Yes, I have talked to the Falcons, and we just kind of had general info. They told me how their scheme was and how they like to play their corners, and I kind of shared our information, what type of defense we played, things like that, and just kind of told them I would love to be a Falcon.
I saw in another interview you did this offseason that one of the receivers you're looking forward to facing is Julio Jones. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, that is fair. It was, that was right. It's either Julio Jones and I also want to go against AJ Green just because of the name thing like that, just for the heck of it. So yeah, it was Julio Jones and AJ Green.
What is it about those receivers that you look at that you want to see as like a potential challenge for you and sort of to test your own metal against?
Um, Especially Julio. I know AJ Green, he's been hurt, but Julio, he's at the top of his game, and I just kind of see corners just struggle with him time and time, and I just kind of want to go out there and just that's what I look for the big challenge to compete with the best and just kind of make a name for myself and make my mark.
So I'm curious, this has been a weird off season because of all the stuff with the coronavirus stuff. I imagine
Yeah,
you have a bit more free time to spend indoors during the day than you normally would this
yeah.
time of year. What are some of the things you're doing to get by?
Just been at home. I've been playing family board games, things like that. I've been playing the game a lot more, 2K, Madden, things of sort, and that's pretty much it. Aside from like working out, things like that, it's pretty kind of been inside.
You got a go-to squad on Madden?
I do it. It's the Bills, and it's because of their defense. But I kind of pretty much play with anybody.
Okay. So I take it you're a big Trey White fan as well.
Oh yes, yeah. Good corner, great corner.
Now, one of the things I heard about you, AJ, is that you're a big fan of fried pickles. Is that true?
Yes, yeah, I like fried pickles, especially from Razoo's. I don't know if they have those in Atlanta or all around, but Razoo's down here, I like their fried pickles.
Is that something that you grew up eating? You grew up eating, or is that just something that you've come to love since your time in Stillwater?
Uh, yeah, it just kind of been something I just came to love. Not really too much, just grew up eating. We had them here, but it just kind of just I had more love for them as I got older.
Is there, you like them in a type of sauce or something like that?
Oh yeah, ranch. I like them in ranch.
Okay. I've had them a couple of times. I haven't. When I had them, I was like, these are pretty good. Maybe I'll give them another
Yeah,
shot or something like that.
yeah. But yeah,
So
no,
you
they
said
good.
what's the place that you said is that the best place to get them?
I think so. Razoo's, yeah, it's kind of like a seafood spot. Accidentally muted. But yeah, it's kind of like a seafood spot. They have like fried pickles. They have like fried gator, things like that. So their food is pretty good to me. So I think that's the best spot to get them.
Okay, all right. How hurt would you be if you get drafted by a team and they don't have a spot that doesn't have fried pickles?
Um, I would be pretty hurt. I'll probably need somebody like to ship some in or something like that, or get some frozen fried pickles to fix them myself. Or
Okay. Are you a big fan of fried food?
I can't hear. Can you say it again? You're breaking
Are
up.
you a big fan of fried food?
Fried food. Yeah, I do like fried food, but I don't like too much fried food. But here and there, I can eat some fried food.
Okay. You said fried gator. Is that something that you've tried before?
Yeah, fried gator. Yeah, that's something I tried before. That's really good. Frog legs, fried. Those are pretty good. So yeah, I guess you could say I'm a big fan of fried food.
Okay. People say gator and frog legs taste like chicken. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, yes, I do. I do agree with that.
Okay. So you're a ranch guy. Does that apply to like chicken wings and whatnot too?
Um, yeah, ranch. I'm a ranch guy. Certain type of ranches though, but I'm mainly a honey mustard guy. But Wingstop ranch is undefeatable. So that's
Okay.
that's the ranch I go to.
All right. Well, Atlanta is home to is famous for their lemon pepper chicken wings. So if you happen
Okay,
to find yourself in Atlanta, you definitely want to check those out. Lemon pepper
I
wet.
need to try those out.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
So getting back to some of the draft stuff, what are some of the feedback that you've been hearing from teams about your game?
Um, They love my game kind of. They love how versatile I am. They love how I can play press, play it off. Like they know we did a lot of different things at Oklahoma State. Nothing would be new to me, and they just kind of like my smarts and tell. That's something I've been hearing a lot. They kind of like how I play the game corner and how I approach it.
Yeah, I mean, because we talked a little bit about your physicality. Like one of the things that stands out about you is your size. And I'm wondering if have teams talked about you in addition to playing corner? Has some teams talked to you about possibly even giving you a look at safety or something like that?
Um, no teams have talked to me about playing safety. No, not yet. But I feel like because when they see my hips, like kind of when they see me move, they say, "Oh yeah, he has natural like fluid movements like for a corner," and I'm not missing the beat or anything like that. So I have size, but I can also like still move, and I'm very still agile.
Yeah, definitely. Um, you were invited to the Senior Bowl. What was that week like for you?
That was a big week for me. With the best, Jim Nagy does a great job with that, and just he has the best. He had the best receivers in the country there for preparing for the draft, who are seniors. He got the best DBs there preparing for the draft. So that's just one stepping stone to the draft, and I feel like I dominated there because that's what I do best. It's football. It's 1-on-1, 7-on-7 team, and it's all elite level players. So you got to show up, and I feel like I maximized my opportunity there.
Yeah, I mean, those one-on-one situations, you're as a corner, you can be put on the island. And one of the things that people say is like, those situations are geared more towards the receiver than the corner because you're stuck on an island or whatever the case may be. Do you feel like you handle those opportunities really well?
Yes, I do feel like I handled those opportunities pretty well. Um, I was pretty dominant for the most part. I was uh, I was receiving good feedback from the coaches, and I just kind of just went out there and just played football. At the end of the day, it was just football, just something you've been doing since you were little.
What was the process of like trying to learn an NFL defense on the fly?
Um, the process, it wasn't too bad because we only learned like a couple of plays, but it was kind of more so a lot more so of knowing the checks and then applying it and just trying to make minimal mistakes as possible. It wasn't too bad.
Okay. Have you have been talking with your agents and they're telling you like a certain round that you're expected to go? Is there a round that you have a goal that you want to get drafted in?
I have been talking to my agents, and I heard the highest was second, and the lowest was fourth. But a certain round, I will be blessed to be taken anywhere, and I'm just ready just to play football again and just prove and just show what I can do. Because I know in a few years to come, I will be one of the highest paid corners.
I like that confidence. I like that confidence. You went to school. You grew up like right outside Dallas, right? Is
Yeah,
that correct?
yeah,
Did you grow up
yeah.
a Cowboys fan?
I did grow up a Cowboys fan, but I would probably say like probably like middle school, like the high school. That's when I came like more of a big Cowboys fan. But I was always a Megatron, a Calvin Johnson fan.
Okay. So did you were growing up, you had dreams of being an elite wide receiver as opposed to a cornerback?
Uh, yeah, I did. I kind of grew on to be like an elite wide receiver. I just Johnson game. He was just so dominant, and he was just a force to be reckoned with when he had the ball in his hands.
Yeah, most definitely. Most definitely. Yeah, receiver like that, you kind of got to get blessed with those sort of natural gifts that he had, but he also had that sort of work ethic to be able to exploit the at the NFL level and be one of the best of all time and a future Hall of Famer. So definitely a player I think makes a lot of sense for you to be a big fan of. Were there any other players that you sort of looked at when you were growing up as other guys that you wanted to model your game off of?
Um, There really weren't too many players that I kind of looked up to or looked at growing up. It was just kind of players that I liked watching play the game of football. That was pretty much it. Yeah, I was a really big Calvin Johnson fan, so that was pretty much it.
So, growing up, what were some of the lessons that your family helped teach you that you now apply to football?
Um, One of the lessons that my mom taught me was like, don't let nobody else dictate your future. Like you're the only person that can do that. And growing up, and just as I continue to grow, I'm starting to understand that more and more. Like people are always going to say something. They're always going to have an opinion. Going to have critics, but they don't dictate your future. You're the only person that do that. You're the person that can go out there and work. You're the person that gives the voice. So that's kind of what that means to me. It's something that I was taught growing up.
Now, AJ, from talking with you these last 15 minutes, it's very clear to me you have a lot of confidence. Um, you have a name of another famous NFL player. You've talked about wanting to go toe to toe with him at the next level. Does the fact that there's, you're the other AJ Green, does that put a little chip on your shoulder that you want to go out there and be like, no, I'm the AJ Green?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, at the end of the day, but it's not bad. I feel like it's only going to get worse as we both continue to rise and continue to play the sport. It's only going to get worse. People are going to say, "Oh, AJ Green, no, the AJ Green that plays for no the as the AJ Green like is because then also play the opposite side of the ball." So I feel like going down the road, it's only going to get worse with the name choosing and things like that.
Okay, so AJ, man, I really do appreciate you joining us on this show, and I'm looking forward to seeing where you get drafted. Later this month. What are you planning on doing for the draft? I mean, it's going to be a different process. You're just going to watch it on TV with your family and whatnot.
Yeah, I'll probably just watch on TV with my family. Probably get some food or something like that. Have some snacks and just kind of just relax and chill and just watch it.
Okay. Do you have like a Twitter or other social media that you want to plug before we duck out of here?
Yes, I have a Twitter at AJ Go for 6, and then I have Instagram, which is return of 4, the number 4, so RETURNOF and the number 4.
All right, AJ, man, I really do appreciate chatting with you. I wish you the best of luck. I hope you get, drafted as high as possible, and I hope you get that opportunity, whether it's in Atlanta or somewhere else. You get to go up against, the players like Julio Jones and AJ Green and get to prove yourself.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for the opportunity.
All right, man. Be safe out there.
All right. You too.
All right, guys. There was AJ Green of Oklahoma State. We have Utah linebacker Francis Bernard coming up on the show. Francis, how you doing tonight?
Doing great. How you doing?
Doing great, man. Glad to be talking with you. Let's talk some football. Yep. You had a little bit of up and down career. You started out at BYU. It didn't necessarily go the way that you wanted it to go due to you having some off-field incidents that forced you to have to leave this school. But you've clearly gotten your career back on track. I'm curious to find out some of the things that you feel like have helped you be able to turn things around and put you in this position to now you can be a potential high round draft pick.
Yeah. So I think first and foremost, I wouldn't change a thing of how my career has gone, the ups and downs. I think the ups and downs, the lessons that I've learned have shaped me to who I am today. And I've become a better person. I'm married and I have a son now. So, there's so much in life that it's actually helped me out with. And, I'm just grateful to be in the position that I am in today. And I just hope, whatever team takes me that, they take me and they just, I'm just able to relish there and do my best job while I'm there.
Yeah, you mentioned your marriage and your son. Yeah, I know your son was born a few months premature. I myself was born 6 weeks premature. So that is definitely something that, when I see other preemies out there that are successful and healthy, I'm definitely rooting for that. I'm just curious from your perspective. So tell me more about how you had to deal with that whole process while you're still trying to get your football career back on track.
Yeah, so it was the year 2018. I just got to the University of Utah after completing my associate's degree at a junior college. Just because at the time at BYU, I wasn't able to transfer because my GPA wasn't good enough. So I had to go junior college to raise my GPA. And my wife, who was my fiance at the time, we decided to start a family just to kind of mix things up in our lives. And we didn't know that my son was going to be born 3 months early, but at the time, I remember, I forget who we were playing, but I was getting ready for practice. We were playing USC at home, and it was a huge game. And I just kept getting phone calls from my coaches. They're like, "Hey, your wife's about to have your baby," and I'm like, "Oh my gosh!" Like, I just remember my body getting numb, and I just remember some of the doctors giving us the percentages of what was going to happen to my son. There's probably like a 50-50 chance that he was going to survive. And when I went to the hospital and he was born, it was just so surreal just because seeing, when he came out, first of all, he was 2 pounds, 2 ounces, and he didn't even look like he wasn't fully developed. Like he was just this little red little thing and like looked like an alien almost. And so just at first it was just shocking because I'm like, dang, like there's no way this thing's going to survive. Like, and even the doctors were kind of discouraged about everything that was going on. He had really bad lung problems. Even to this day, he has lung issues, but they're tons better. But at the time, there was just so much uncertainty, and so I'm just thankful that I'm done with that, and I don't have to go, we don't have to go through it back. But it was a stressful time.
So I'm curious, how's fatherhood treating you? Is it keeping you grounded and focused on things?
Absolutely, I think it's been the second best thing in my life. I think first, meeting my wife was the best thing for me, and then us starting my family, my son. Just every single day, I gotta just teaching. Teaching a kid is just it's incredible. Just because how you shape and mold them is literally just off off of your teachings and the foundation that you lay for them. But I enjoy every single moment of it.
You often hear people talk about like faith, family, and football. I mean, what do those words kind of mean to you?
And those are the foundation, principles of my family, my wife's family, and then even just something that we're trying to integrate into our own family. Just even at night and stuff, we'll try to read like baby Bible stories to my son. We'll try to do prayers over the food and prayers at night and stuff. And so and then absolutely like just one thing, we're always just trying to show my son that we're always trying to be around like my family or my wife's family. And so and then it's funny that you say, even football, like every morning my son wakes up, he goes straight to our basketball hoop and he starts shooting hoops, or he goes straight to our football and grabs our football and starts running around with it. And so, it's fun to see that, he's kind of picking up on that, and that's something that we value a ton.
Now, I imagine your son and your family are keeping you busy during this time, when you're not necessarily working out. But you have family life, you have draft preparation. Do you have any time for any hobbies or anything else?
Right now, I'd say yeah, just because for the most part I'm inside, and my son's on a pretty good sleep schedule. He sleeps by around 8 o'clock. Um, I haven't really gotten into any hobbies right now. I've kind of, as soon as he goes to sleep, I kind of just shut it down, and me and my wife are kind of watching TV. Or the one thing we are getting into, we're getting into a lot of board games. I haven't played a whole lot of board games growing up. My favorite right now is Monopoly. I get super competitive, and I just want to beat everyone. Like, I'm trying to convince my brother to buy Monopoly on the Nintendo Switch so we can play online. So we just, or on the phone too, so I can always play them. But I'd say that's about it. Aside, watching my son and working out however much I can.
No, I hear what you're saying with the Monopoly thing. I see the most mild-mannered people. The minute they play Monopoly, a couple hours later, someone's flipping the board or whatever because people are getting in fights. It's never a happy home after a game of Monopoly. So
Exactly, yeah.
I hope you're doing a little bit better with that. Let's talk a little bit about this draft process in your game. Are there any particular NFL players that you try to model your game off of?
Yeah, I'd say there's three. One guy that I've kind of looked to when I made the transition to linebacker, my sophomore year was a guy like Bobby Wagner. Just since he's a 6 foot guy like myself, I've tried to just model my game after him because he's the guy that can do it all. He can drop into coverage, blitz, play the run. Just a dominant force on all ends. If there's a one linebacker you want to be like, it's Bobby Wagner. And then another guy that I've kind of looked into is Eric Kendricks. I think that's someone that I think my game's very similar to, and I try to do my best to play just like him, just like those two.
Okay. You played at Utah, and there's a lot of guys on that Utah defense. It seems like pretty much everybody that started for Utah is potentially going to get drafted this year. You've played with other players in past years like Cody Barton that have been drafted as well. I'm curious, what is it about the Utah program that takes a lot of these guys that are 3-star prospects coming out of high school and turns them into quality NFL players?
First and foremost, it's Coach Whittingham and just the culture he's established of just having that chip on your shoulder. And I don't know, he just does a great job of just unlocking everyone's like true potential. And it's not that he treats everyone special. It's just, he treats his program like it's in Alabama, it's at LSU. Like, you come in and you earn your spot. You could be a 3-year starter, but if a freshman comes in and takes your spot, that's your fault for losing your job. I think that's gone a long way. And, for this year and specifically, I think everyone just bought into that and everyone was able to play so well. And that's why we were able to have such a successful season. And like you say, there's going to be potentially, 8 or 9 guys drafted in this year's draft. So,
if since you have so many teammates that are potentially going to be joining you in the NFL, if it was possible, could you pick 3 of your Utah teammates that if you were an NFL GM, you'd take along with, of course, yourself and sort of be like, this is the foundation of the defense I want to build?
Yeah, that's a good question. If there's a foundation I want to build, me being the quarterback of the defense, I'd definitely bring, Lucky Fotu with me because just a big dude, can eat up blocks, and he himself can make a lot of plays too. I would bring Terrell Burgess with me, just very versatile, can play inside the box, outside the box, dominant force on special teams. And then I'd also bring, I'd bring Jalen with me because Jalen's going to lock up any receiver in the NFL too. So I'd bring those guys with me.
Yeah, you probably could have picked any other 3 guys, and it would have been just as good an answer, just as the type of talent that you got to play with this past year. But Given that you were able to play with that level of talent, what was it about you that led you to sort of be the sort of quarterback of the defense as you just referred to it?
Yeah, for me, when I came to Utah, I was fortunate enough to play behind Cody Barton and Chase Hansen. I learned so much from them. They were the leaders of the team and quarterbacks of that defense. And I just would sit back, watch them, learned a ton from them. And so when it was my turn, my senior year, I just took over, took the reins, and just never let go. I just took what I learned from them, and a little bit of what I wanted to incorporate into my leadership. I did that as well, and everyone just accepted me, and I was just able to go in and do my thing. So that was pretty much it.
Now, this is a Falcons-centric show, and I would be remiss if I didn't ask you about whether or not you had a chance to speak with the Falcons throughout this process.
Yeah, I've talked to the Falcons at the Senior Bowl, and I talked to them at the Combine, actually. And then I got a phone. I've talked to them on the phone a few times, post-Combine and stuff, like leading up to today. So that's the contact that I've had with them.
So, from the feedback you've gotten to them, it sounds like they're pretty interested in you.
Yeah, they're interested. They, enjoy, like I said, they enjoy that. I'm very, very studious of the game. You can tell by my film. I'm always either pointing stuff out, always, commanding my defensive line, commanding the defensive backs. I'm just very vocal on the field, and I'm doing my best just to try to anticipate the play before it happens. So that's most of the feedback that I've gotten from most teams is, they love the anticipation part and that I'm just a field general out there, and I'm a smart football player.
Now, from what I understand, you did your LDS mission in Atlanta before college. What
Yes,
were some of
sir.
the types of things you did in Atlanta, and what did you think of the city?
Yeah, so I first started off my mission. I went to Conyers, Georgia, and then I ended it in the city of Atlanta. I love Atlanta. There's one place I'd tell people to go visit. It'd be, Georgia in general. From where I come from Utah, I'm a Utah native guy, so literally two completely different worlds. One, Utah is predominantly white, and then you go to the city of Atlanta, it's predominantly black, and so that was a uh, huge change for me when I went there. I'm like, dang, like now people don't got to look at me all different and stuff when I'm walking around anywhere. But I love the food there. Fried food, I fell in love with fried food while I was out there. Fried chicken, you name it. Barbecue was a huge thing that I fell in love with. I gained a lot of pounds when I was on my mission, probably like 25 pounds. And so, yeah, I love everything. And then the people there too, like, if there's one thing that I tell people a lot about Atlanta and just the South, is the oh my gosh, what's the phrase I'm trying to use?
Southern
The
hospitality.
Southern hospitality is a real thing. It really is, and it's something that I want to instill into my kids and just the generations that I will leave behind too as well.
Okay. Well, I know there's a lot of people, a lot of Falcon fans listening to the show. Love hearing you say that, Francis, about the city, and I know they're eager to hopefully see, you potentially get drafted by the Falcons. On that note of being drafted, have you heard any feedback from your agents about sort of where you're expected to go? Do you have a goal in mind of where you want to go?
Yeah, so going into this process, my goal was second round. I believe I'm a second round guy. I believe, I'm the best linebacker in this draft. Just you can go back and watch the tape. I know people watch. I always refer to the tape, and that's solely what ultimately teams are gonna go off of. But the feedback that I've got from him is, I'm probably gonna be a late two guy, early day three guy. So it ranges between third round to fifth round. That's kind of the range right now that we're looking at.
I'm curious, you played running back at the start of your college career. Any interest in sort of maybe getting some goal line reps in the NFL, playing some fullback, playing some running back or something like that?
Shoot, I'll do it. I tell every team when I get my hands on the ball, it's because I'm intercepting it or taking it into the end zone. So, that's what I do.
That's the right mentality. Do you think that your time playing running back has helped you play linebacker better because you kind of can anticipate some of the things that running backs are doing?
Yeah, I think so, for sure. I think one thing I got to understand a lot was alignment as a running back, whether he was wide or close or in the pistol position. I had to learn why I was in those positions as running back. And so when I transitioned to linebacker, I understood, all right, if he's flat, it's a run play. He's not going to run freaking zone weak from being even with the quarterback. He's going to run probably stretch, or if he's in pistol, the chances of them running freaking toss from pistol are probably slim. So it's probably going to be some sort of stretch and stuff. And so just things like that I was able to pick up on. And then just the other things, too, was, when the running back has the ball, I just understood that, all right, he's going to try to bait me here. And so maybe wait, and then let him declare, then I'll go. And so, yeah, me playing running back has benefited me in a long way for the transition to linebacker.
Okay. You talk about this process and the sort of disruption that coronavirus has had for it. You came off your combine maybe not having some of the best numbers that you probably set your goal towards, and then from what I understand, you did like a private pro day workout because you can do one at the school this past week.
Yeah. hmm So I actually did a pro day 3 weeks ago. I forget, and it was all recorded. The guy who actually did the pro day was the same dude whose technology we used at the combine. His name is Mike Weinstein, I believe his name is. But so we showed up and it was all the same electronic timing and stuff, and I was able to improve my 40 by a tenth and a half. I ran electronically. The electronic time was like a 4.71, and the official time came back to be a 4.65. And at the combine, I ran a 4.81. And I was hurt at the time at the combine too. So there's a lot of factors that played into me not performing at my best too as well.
So when you make the jump to the next level, you feel like you're the type of guy that can come in right away and be a impact starter right away?
I think so. I absolutely think so, and I believe so. Just like I said, I'm a huge guy on being a student of the game, but then I'm also a huge guy on making plays. And so, when you add those two things, I'll jump in, learn the playbook right away, and then make plays. I don't see why any team wouldn't let a guy like that not start right away.
And, given this whole situation with coronavirus, it's disrupting the offseason, potential of mini camps and OTAs being delayed or canceled or whatever. You feel like that being a student of the game is going to help you be able to navigate not having a potential true offseason if it comes to that when you get drafted by a team?
I think so. I think it's going to be telling for sure. That I speak highly of it, and so when the time comes to show up for camp and stuff, I'm gonna have to definitely lean on my study, my film study, and just being able to virtually learn things through whatever sort of playbook that I'll receive from teams or iPad or whatever. And so, I've already done like a bit of film study already. That's kind of one of the things I do in my downtime is I try to watch as many film, like whatever team's calling me, I'll try to watch film on them and just try to learn their defense. Although, I get a good understanding of what's going on, but I won't completely know. But that's just one way that helps me just stay on my toes and stay ahead of my game.
Yeah, definitely. Um, when you get drafted this year, you talk about your ability to make that transition to the next level. Sometimes, the expectation is for rookies, especially, that they're going to have to come in and perform on special teams. Do you have a background playing on special teams from your college days that you feel like will help apply to you as well, in addition to your ability to compete and challenge for a potential starting role for a team?
Yeah, so every single year I've played college football, I've played special teams. My freshman year, I had to start on kickoff return, and punt return. Sophomore year, I just started on punt. And then junior year, I played just about every special team, kickoff, same thing, kickoff return. And then just this last year, I played, just started on punt. But I think special teams, I think I don't know if people understand this, but special teams is a huge part of the game. And, you even sometimes, in some cases, have starters play on special teams. And, if you're a linebacker or safety or even some corners going into the draft or going to the NFL, I think special teams is the easiest way to get your foot in the door and stick or to even earn a starting role. And so that's kind of where I see myself first, establishing myself is making plays on special teams. And then, by earning trust from the coaches and stuff, then I'll be able to earn some more playing time on, a starting role at some point in my career.
I definitely like hearing you say that, Francis, because I'm a big proponent that special teams matters. It's it's the phase of the game that often gets forgotten, I think, by a lot of fans. And so to sort of hear you say that, I think is definitely a testament to your work ethic and your outlook. I think you have certainly the right outlook when it comes to this game. One of the last questions I want to ask you is, I just went out of my head. What was I going to say? Dang it. Well, sorry, I completely blanked on that last question. So, okay, I'm trying to buy myself a second. I apologize. When you go to the next level, and what are some of the things? Oh, I'm sorry. Now I remember. I'm sorry.
You're good. No worries.
You grew up in Utah.
Sure.
Was there a particular team that you grew up watching?
Yeah, so my family's originally from California. I'm a California native kid, born there, but raised in Utah. So my older siblings are all, they went to elementary school and stuff, and then they started middle school here in Utah. But we're huge Laker fans and huge Raiders fans, actually. And so I'm a big time Raiders fan. A little sad that they moved to Vegas, but yeah, like I said, I'm all about the silver and black. That's what I'm all about.
Okay. Was there a particular, favorite player on the Raiders that you when you were watching?
So mine was Charles Woodson. Mine was always Charles Woodson. Just he was just so versatile, could make so many plays. Defensive wise, was just always running the ball. But mine was always him for sure.
And you growing up a Laker fan, I imagine you were a big Kobe fan.
That's right. Big 2-4, number 8. That's right.
So I'm curious, when you heard the news of his tragic passing earlier this year, sort of how did that feel, and what do you sort of think about, all the people that attempt to try to honor some of the legacy that he's put out there in the world and all the good that he's put out there in the world, and sort of
Man,
what aspect of that do you try to take on, if any?
yeah. So for me, it's Kobe Bryant was my childhood hero and someone that I always try to model. I grew up being a basketball, player first before I played any other sport, and so everything I did, I try to model after Kobe. His jump shot, his free throw, everything. But just his work ethic and just his attitude about the game is something that I try to incorporate in my game. I try to instill being the first one to be at the gym, the last one to leave the gym mentality. Just no one can outwork me mentality. That's just what I do in a daily basis. I always think about other people always working harder than me, and that I got to outwork them when no one's looking mentality. I know he said that somewhere along his lines, but yeah, just the legacy he left behind of just being just probably the most competitive athlete of all time, aside probably Michael Jordan and some of the other greats. That's something that I just try to instill in my own game.
And so you said earlier that you spend a lot of time, watching TV with your wife at the end of the night. Are you watching like Netflix or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, watching Netflix, Hulu, some Disney Plus. We got a 1-year-old, so it's like we venture into Disney Plus too as well. But it's kind of whatever right now, and like I let my wife choose because I'm usually on my phone watching film or something, and she doesn't bug me, so I let her choose at the end of the day.
Is there any particular show that you might catch yourself watching a little bit more of instead of watching the film or anything like that?
Dang. I mean, we were super into Tiger King before we finished it, uh, but shoot, nothing really right now. I'm just whatever puts my son to sleep is kind of how we end the night. So yeah,
Yeah, I haven't gotten into Tiger King quite yet, but that's the
yeah,
that's the
I
one show that
wouldn't. Don't
everybody.
do it.
Okay, okay, all right. Well, then that gives me an excuse. When people ask me why haven't I watched it, I'll say Francis Bernard told me not to. So
Yeah, that's
appreciate that.
right.
Francis, man, I really appreciate you joining us on tonight's show, and talking some football with us, talking a little Netflix, talking a little family, little faith, football as well. Um, let the people know sort of if where they can hit you up on social media, whether it's Twitter or Instagram or any other place.
Yeah, so Twitter, my handle is at Francis J Bernard, and then my Instagram is Francis Jordan Bernard.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you coming on, talking some football. Hopefully, you get an opportunity. I know the Falcon fan in me wants you to see you in Atlanta, so that you get to pick up where you left off from your mission days, and hopefully maybe lay off a little bit of the fried food moving forward. But yeah, man, I wish you the best. I hope you get as drafted as high as possible, and I think you're going to be very successful at the next level wherever you end up. So I appreciate you joining us tonight.
For sure. Hey, thank you so much. Y'all enjoy your night.
You too. Well, guys, there you have it. Oklahoma State corner AJ Green, Utah linebacker Francis Bernard, two really good players. Hopefully, they get drafted pretty high here. That's it for tonight's episode of Falcon Central Radio. So I hope you guys really appreciate that. You guys can look forward to another film breakdown on Saturday. If you've missed the last two, we did a Hayden Hurst one last Saturday. We did a Ty Gurley one the previous Saturday. Of course, that leaves the incomparable Dante Fowler to do this upcoming Saturday. And this will be something that we'll continue to do in the lead up to the draft. And then coming out of the draft, we'll be able to break down some film of whoever the Falcons wind up drafting. and ensuing weekends. And perhaps that could include AJ Green or Francis Bernard or Josiah DeGuara, the tight end from Cincinnati that we interviewed a week or so ago, and Alex Highsmith, the Charlotte pass rusher that also had an interview. And if you're missing all this great content here on Falcon Central Radio, you know what to do. You got to subscribe to the Pro Football Central channel here on YouTube, like the videos, spread the word, get more people watching these videos on various social media platforms. Of course, you can check us out as well at Facebook at Falcons Central Radio. The producer of this show, Brian Harrington, is also doing a show now. And if you missed it, it was on Periscope a couple of weeks ago. So you want to definitely follow Pro Football Central on Twitter so you don't miss any future shows at PF Central. Of course, Falcon Central Radio is on Twitter as well at Falcons PFC, and you can get updates on any upcoming shows or past shows and whatnot. So, guys, we're going to keep this thing going. We're going to have more draft prospects coming on and chat with me and get and pick their brains and share their stories and whatnot, as well as more Falcons topics. So if you missed the Falcons talk on today's episode, join me on Saturday when we do the film breakdown. There will certainly be a portion where you guys can send in your questions and Falcons questions and get those topics answered on Saturday show around noontime. So there you guys have it. Appreciate you guys for joining me on today's tonight for today's Falcon Central Radio. And we'll see you on Saturday. And then again, I'll see you next week, Thursday at 9 p.m.